Life at sea isn't always laid back. Sometimes things happen, and if you're not careful, they happen to you. I'm the Saipan Sailor, and this is part 6 of Around the World in 70 Days. Out on deck, we had the cargo booms, which were powered by the winches, which sat on top of the winch houses. Down inside the winch house was the winch control boards and resistor banks. One day, I was working on the winch controller, and what I was doing was rebuilding the relays on that controller. Now let me tell you how old these ships are. The controller was out in the open, and the only thing it was inside was the winch house itself. So what I was looking at was just a board sticking up from the deck with everything attached to it. There was a knife switch you can disconnect the power from, okay? But there was a bus bar that ran across the top of that control board that fed power to it. This was 440 volts direct current. As I was rebuilding one of the relays, I was standing up and I was facing the port side, which is the left side, facing the controller. When the ship took a roll to port, it was a sudden sharp roll. I don't know if they made a turn or what happened, but it was unexpected, and I was caught off balance, and I was flying right up against the controller. Well, what I had done was I reached up and I grabbed a hold of what I thought was the top of the control board, which is made of non-conductive material, of course. But that's not what I grabbed a hold of. I grabbed a hold of that bus bar that was running across the top of the controller, and it was live. I got 440 volts direct current jammed right up my butt. Now, I had quick reflexes, so I let go right away. That lasted about a half a second. I had to take a couple of steps back, caught my breath, and I looked at it and I thought, okay, I won't be grabbing a hold of that thing anymore. Now, a lot of you might think, we should have been hurt pretty bad. That could put you in a cardiac arrest. Well, it didn't, but it hurt. I can tell you right now. I think because this is a constant 440 positive direct current and not a pulsating 440, or if it was AC three phase, it would be 460 pulsating back and forth between positive and negative. That has killed people. That would probably burn your fingers off and put you in a cardiac arrest as well. But this did not. But I'll never forget it. That will teach you a lesson real quick. The other thing that happened going across the Gulf of Mexico. One night, I was laying in my bunk. Oh, what's the matter? You need to get fed? When chief engineer was knocking on the chief electrician's door, which was right next to my door. And he was hollering, he was yelling, Warren, we lost the fourth draft fan. Now, what he was talking about was the boiler furnace fan. Those ships were equipped with two boilers, and in order to have a fire in the furnace, you needed to have forced air through the furnace. And there was a big fan in the upper engine room, huge motor, huge fan, that supplied air to the boiler. Now, on a direct current, on a DC ship, these were DC motors, so they had brushes in them. And that's what it was. The brushes had worn down to nothing. And the brushes were a way of supplying electricity to the armature of the motor, okay, and also the field windings. It went through the armature and also the windings. So I got dressed, walked out in the passageway, and met the chief electrician out there. He says, probably the brushes. I said, all right, I'll go up there. I grabbed a bunch of brushes. They're made of carbon, by the way. They've got two pigtail wires from them. And it was a real easy fix. I mean, it took me about a half an hour. But it's really hot up there in the upper engine room, or the fiddly as we call it. When I walked out of there, I was soaked from head to toe with sweat. And I went to my room and took a shower and went back to bed. But about a half hour later, the chief was knocking on Warren's door again, and I heard him say, Warren, we lost the other forced draft fan. Now, apparently, whoever worked on the blast changed brushes in both the motors, which made sense. So I jumped in my clothes again and told the chief, I said, I'll take care of it this time. Grabbed a bunch of brushes, went up there, changed the brushes. When I came back down, a few of the engineers were waiting for me in the lounge, and they were happy. You know, I was a hero that day. But electricians can go from zero to hero and back to zero in about 5 minutes. But you know, it's moments like that when the entire ship, everyone's life, including your own, is dependent on you. And that's an incredible moment. And we were only a few days out of Houston when that happened. So it was quite a way to end the trip. It was a great feeling. The next stop, Houston, Texas. And I will meet you pierside and tell you what happened there. I'm the Saipan Sailor, and this was part 6 of Around the World in 70 Days. Clear skies and calm seas, everybody. I'll see you in Houston.